Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad Big Noise Evans here on a solo mission with this Feed 5 podcast. Nathaniel Lundy out. It's the holiday season. He partied his ass off yesterday, so I'm giving him the day off. So you get me and me alone, which means hashtag fade the noise. We got a cherry to put on top of the Sunday, and hopefully you're still alive in your fantasy football playoffs. I went 0-4 in my semifinals, so I am hurting inside. I am weeping. I am crying. I am a depressed man at the current moment. But you know what? There are some warm and fuzzy bets to jolt the hype inside me tonight because we got one game left, and that one matchup is none other than the LA Chargers and the Indianapolis Colts. And in this Monday Night Football affair, the Chargers are laying 4.5. With a total sitting at 45.5. This line opened at 3.5 at BetMGM, and we get splits from BetMGM every single morning. Where is the handle? Where are the side tickets flowing? And according to John Ewing, who sets all this stuff up at BetMGM, in the email he sent me this morning, the majority of the tickets right now are on LAC to cover, whether on the 3.5 or the 4.5. That's probably why the line has moved somewhat, but the handle. Here's what's crazy. 81% of the handle on the opposite team, on those My Little Ponies of Indiana and the Colts. And I kind of like following the money, and I kind of like the Colts here. I think 4.5 points is a little way too many, giving the susceptibilities of this LA Chargers defense, especially on the ground. I got the big Richard, Nick Foles, under center. Stronger arm quarterback, in my estimation, still compared to Matt Ryan, who is more of the dink and dunk style. So as a result, I think the Chargers will find a way to keep this one close with the Colts because that's what inevitably the Chargers do. They constantly let you down. So give me Indianapolis on the spread plus the 4.5, but I think the Chargers get the victory at 24-21. I'm not remotely touching that total because I think it is spot on. With that already on the board, let's get after it with another edition of the Fade 5. All right, numero cinco on the player props countdown tonight. How about Zack Moss? Could be a fantasy boss if you're employing him this evening. And a boss on this line as well. I'm taking the over 55.5 rush yards, minus 114 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Best line right now in the industry. If you look at Moss, last week, Jonathan Taylor exited stage left. He is done, presumably for the rest of the season due to the high ankle sprain. And Moss played 63.3% of the snaps last week. So he's going to work loosely in an RBBC with Deon Jackson, but he had 24 balls to the belly, 24 rush attempts in that matchup in week 15. And you look at LAC and what they have allowed this season. They roll out the red carpet for opposing running backs, allowing 5.49 yards per carry, 128.3 rush yards per game. 13 rushers have eclipsed the 50-yard mark against them, and most of those have gone over 55.5. So if Moss even gets 15 to 17 rush attempts in this game, I think he surpasses 55.5 rush yards and makes you some money in the end. All right, let's go with anytime touchdown prop on Big Mike Williams of the LA Chargers, plus 145 right now at DraftKings. And I'm getting seduced by that juice. You look at Mike Williams. Yeah, it's a bad paper matchup. The Colts and Stephon Gilmore specifically is his likely primary assignment in this game. Has only allowed 2 touchdowns and an 80.0 rating to his assignments this season. Indianapolis as a collective, though, has given up 12 wide receiver touchdowns. So maybe shifts off of Gilmore. He's not going to be shadowed by him. And it, happens to be in the red zone. Hell, it could be at midfield because of his big playability. And the arms go up from the referee on the sidelines, and Williams splashes 6. The guy this season, you look at the last couple of games coming back off that ankle injury, 67.9% of the snap share 2 weeks ago, with an 85.5 he saw 1 week ago. He's ran 79 total routes over the last couple of games with 14 total targets, 10 receptions, $177 in yards, and a TD. Has scored a touchdown in 4 of 9 games this season. And despite missing all that time, he is still number 22 in the NFL among wide receivers in total red zone targets. So pull it together. It may be a bad matchup on paper, but it could be a sweet end to the story here for Mike Williams tonight. I'm going to take him on anytime touchdown, plus 145 at DraftKings. Numero Trace here on the Fade 5 podcast. I'm going to go with an OGP/SGP and come with me, would you kindly? And really achievable thresholds here for a pair of LA Chargers. Let's go with Joshua Palmer. And I'm going to say 20 plus receiving yards for him. And the second leg, let's slap that together with Gerald Everett, 3 plus receptions. Now, this isn't plus money. I'm not getting seduced by the juice by any stretch of the imagination. It's minus 110 available at DraftKings, but I'm trying to build the bankroll. Again, I had a killer Sunday and Saturday in the NFL. I'm up nearly 12 units, so it could all come crashing down tonight, but I do like this parlay quite a bit, and we don't have to do like 5, 6, 7 legs and try to get rich quick. We're trying to build the bankroll. We're trying to play for the long term, not the short-term immediate gain. So why do I like this? It's very simple. Joshua Palmer has hit this in 12 straight games. And even with Mike Williams back, he's still seeing right around 70% of the snap share and running north of 30 routes per game. And you look at Indianapolis, even though they have been relatively stiff and unrelenting through the air, they have allowed 31 wide receivers to reach 20 yards in the box score this season. I think Palmer extends that to 32. Meanwhile, look at Gerald Everett. He's averaging 6.1 targets per game. He has hit the over, meaning he's caught at least 3 balls in a contest in 7 of his last 8 games. The Colts underneath, 4.4 receptions per game, 45.4 yards per game to opposing tight ends. 11 TEs have hauled in at least 3 passes against Indy this season. So Palmer, 20 plus receiving yards. Gerald Everett, 3 plus receptions, minus 110 at DraftKings. Yeah, let's get gnarly and make some greenbacks. All right, numero dos. Cue the minute work. We're going to live in the land down under on Parris Campbell, 38.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Now, the paper matchup, admittedly, is quite fruitful potentially. Bryce Callahan, who's the primary slot cornerback for LAC, is allowed 1.12 yards per snap. That's the 16th highest yield in that category in the NFL, along with a 74.4 catch rate and a 93.4 pass rating. However, we'll see how Foles operates. There's going to be more big plays. He's going to take what the defense gives him and devour them in small chunks, which would benefit Campbell. But I think this number is a little bit too high. Campbell's been under this in 2 of his last 3 games. Hell, he hasn't even cracked 20 yards in 2 of those last 3 games. Has only totaled as well 12 targets in total over the last 3 contests. So, with the unknowns with Nick Foles, despite the great matchup on the surface, I say Parris Campbell, no, hits the under 38.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. All right, last and certainly not least, breaking out the sledgehammer for Deon Jackson of the Indianapolis Colts, 9.5 receiving yards. And of course, I'm taking the over on that, minus 115 at BetMGM. This is a head scratcher. It's really puzzling that this number is this low. He's probably going to see around 35-40% of the snap share and should be the primary receiving back for the Colts, as we've seen this in instances this season. Now, last week, with Zack Moss on the field, a historic come-from-behind victory of the opponent in the Minnesota Vikings, he ran 13 routes, only caught 1 pass for 1 yard. But you look at LAC, they've allowed 4.1 receptions per game, 27.0 receiving yards per game to the running back position. 11 RBs have recorded at least 10 receiving yards against them. I think Jackson, with the possibility, too, that there could be a deficit in this game, is going to be utilized more heavily than some people think. Yeah, Zack Moss will likely be the primary early down rusher in this contest, but we could just get 1 catch, just 1. And if he hauls that in, it could go for 10 yards and we cash a ticket. But I think it's going to be a multi-reception type of game for Jackson. And I'm going to say he catches at least 3 balls. So look out for the over-under on receptions. If it's at 1.5 and at plus money, sledgehammer that as well. But for now, what is available in the marketplace, receiving yards, 9.5 on Deon Jackson, minus 115 at BetMGM. I am all in on this prop. All right, before we get on out of here on this rapid fire express edition of a Feed 5, I got some bonus time. Let's get a couple of more picks here on the board, and let's first go to the NBA. I like the Rockets tonight, plus 8.5 against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have covered in 7 of their last 9 games. They are number 15 right now in net efficiency rating in their last 10 contests. So middle of the road, showing some improvement, but still very beatable from outside. Number 24 in their last 10 contests in three-point percentage D. If Jalen Green, if Jabari Smith can open up the skies and make it rain, I think the Rockets can keep this sucker close. Houston has covered 4 of their last 5 games against the spread, though they are number 26 right now and net efficiency rating in their last 10 games. So I like Houston, again, plus 8.5. And I love Portland tonight, minus 6 against the woeful Charlotte Hornets, who are in a massive slump as we speak. You look at Charlotte, 2-8, straight up in their last 10 games. They are dead last in net efficiency rating at minus 8.4. That's humiliating in that category, and dead last in adjusted defensive efficiency during that 10-game stretch at 1.209 points per possession allowed. Look at the Blazers, one of the best offenses in the NBA, number 2 in offensive efficiency in their last 10 games, and they're also number 7 in net efficiency rating in their last 10 contests. So, damn it, Dame, get the cover here, minus 6 against the very beatable and buy against Hornets, who pack a little sting so far here this NBA season. Meanwhile, back to the NFL. Give me another OGP, and it's a kind of a bold take. It's a plus odds, a plus 110. Justin Herbert, 255 plus pass yards, and Justin Herbert, 2 plus passing touchdowns. So he's not done this in 3 consecutive games. He has done both feats, though, however, in 6 contests this season. In fact, he's only got 2 passing touchdowns in his last 3 tilts. Number 16 in red zone completion percentage, and that's where he's kind of struggled this season, but still with a full complement of wide receivers at his disposal. Everybody healthy. I think he gets there. The Colts in their last 5 games, 7.26 pass yards per attempt, 248.5 pass yards per game allowed, and 2.0 passing touchdowns per game also given up. So that's a defense and a secondary that's underachieved here a little bit in the last handful of weeks. So I like Herbert there, 255 plus pass yards, 2 plus passing touchdowns, plus 110 on that OGP at BetMGM. And also for S's and G's, I'll take Dicker the kicker over 1.5 field goals made. He's been marvelous, simply marvelous as a place kicker. The rookie has been for the LA Chargers. If some of those drives bog down due to the ineffectiveness of Justin Herbert inside the red zone, and, he can't punch one in there for 6, or Austin Eckler can't run one in, Dicker the kicker is going to split the uprights, not once, but a couple of times tonight. So I like the over there on 1.5 field goals made. And we got one bowl game. Let me give you a pick there. It's the Quick Lane Bowl. You need an excuse to watch this awful contest between New Mexico State and Bowling Green. I'm going to take the over in this game, which is sitting at 48.5. Yes, both offenses are dreadful. Bowling Green, the bottom 25 in total offense in college football this season. Same with New Mexico, number 19th worst, as a matter of fact, but both defenses equally as disgusting. Number 105 in total defense, giving up over 415 yards per game, is Bowling Green. And New Mexico State, meanwhile, number 32, much better in total defense, giving up 338.7. But New Mexico State has scored at least 20 points 5 of the last 6 games. And Bowling Green, was averaging 23.8 points per game. Because of some of the shortcomings defensively in this game, I think the offenses do it really an evenly matched contest will arrive there in the Quick Lane Bowl, and that's why I think it's going to finish in the 50s and hit the over on 48.5. I am out of time again on this solo mission. do me a favor, drop us a rating and or review if you enjoy this particular podcast or episode if you're watching on YouTube right now. Also, feed or follow us. All of our free picks on our free spreadsheets on Twitter at Nate Lundy. And Lundy will be back with me on Thursday, or myself at Noisy Huevos. Feed or follow. As always, that is up to you. Enjoy the holidays. Adios, amigos.